Recently, I came across this really clean portfolio, and the thing that caught my attention was the landing page reveal. There is this circular preloader in the center with a progress fill animation. Once that finishes, the logo fades out and the preloader turns into a clickable button. You click it, the text animates, and the whole preloader overlay scales down and wipes away to the left like a really cool digital scan effect. Behind it, you also see that backdrop layer with all this decorative interface text before the actual page content reveals itself. It's a lot of small details working together, but the end result feels really polished. Now it's been a while since we have covered any kind of landing page reveal or preloader animation on the channel, and I thought this was the perfect one to recreate. So I took that as inspiration and built my own version of the whole experience. It's always fun to build these kinds of landing page reveal concepts using GSAP timeline. Whenever I work on these, I'm always fascinated by how easy it is to animate every single element on the page using very basic timeline instances. A few tweens, some overlapping position parameters, a bit of timing, and suddenly the whole thing feels cinematic. In this video, I'll walk you through the full build step by step, GSAP, split text, custom uses, SVG stroke animation, and clip path transitions, all from scratch. If you'd like to access the source code for this project, along with hundreds of other similar micro projects and a brand new website template every month, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. And if you find my work helpful, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, let's get into the code. Let's start with the markup. The structure here is split into three main elements. First is the preloader backdrop, which is the background layer that sits behind everything. It will hold some decorative text content that becomes visible once the main preloader animates away. Second is the preloader itself, which is the dark overlay that covers the entire screen on load. This is where all the intro animation happens, the circular loading progress bar, the enter button, all of that. And third is the hero section, which is the actual page content that gets revealed after the preloader goes away. Let's focus on the preloader backdrop first. This one is purely visual, so we'll just add some dummy content to give it that terminal aesthetic. I'll follow simple row and column layout to keep things clean, so I'll add 2 rows. Inside first row, I'll add 5 columns, and in the second row, I'll add 6 columns. Now it doesn't really matter what copy you put inside these, they are just decorative text blocks, but for now, I'll add some varied copy via paragraph elements inside each one. Now let's focus on the preloader. This is the overlay that sits on top of everything when the page first loads. Inside the preloader, I'll follow the same row and column layout. I'll add 2 rows, and inside the second row, I'll add 2 columns. For a bit more structure, I'll also add 2 subcolumns inside the first column so we can stack some extra metadata text in there. Once that structure is in place, let me replace the markup with some dummy copy as well. Now apart from this text content, we need the main preloader element. I'll call it preloader button container. This is the centered box that holds the loading SVG and the enter button label. First, I'll place 3 elements inside it, an image tag for the logo, a paragraph with the ID label and the text engage, and another paragraph with the ID outro label and the text access granted. Now for the circular outline animation we saw in the demo, for that we'll use SVGs. So I'll add a div with the class name SVG strokes, and inside it I'll paste an SVG element. Inside the SVG there are 2 circle elements, both have the same size and position, but they serve different purposes. The first circle is the track. It draws in at the start to show the outline of the button. The second circle is the progress stroke. This one fills in incrementally over time like a loading indicator. Both circles use stroke dash array and stroke dash offset to control how much of the path is visible, which is what we'll animate later with GSAP to create that drawing effect. Finally, inside the hero section, we need 2 elements. One is an empty div with the class name preloader revealer. This acts as a white overlay that covers the hero content. When the preloader exits, we'll animate this away with a clip path wipe to gradually reveal what's underneath. And second is an H1 with some placeholder text. You can replace this with whatever content you want to appear after the page reveals. This is the main headline that animates in at the very end of the sequence. And that's pretty much it for the HTML. Let's move on to the styling. First, I'm importing 2 fonts from Google Fonts. I've also set up a few CSS variables on the root selector for white, gray and black, and after that, a standard reset, stripping out all default margins and paddings and setting everything to border box sizing. Next, the typography. For the H1, I'm setting it to uppercase in Barlow condensed font with a heavy font weight. For the paragraph elements, I'm using just mono at a small size with a medium font weight. Just clean, minimal monospace text for all the metadata and labels. Now this next rule is important. For H1 words and paragraph lines, I am setting their initial position to translate by 100%. This pushes them completely out of view below their container. Combined with fill change transform, these elements are ready to be animated upward into view later with GSAP. This is the setup that makes the masked text reveal effect work. Now let's style the preloader backdrop. I am setting it to position fixed so it covers the full viewport with a white background and muted gray text. Display flex with column direction and space between, so the two rows of content push to the top and bottom edges, and a z-index of 0, which means it sits behind everything else. For the backdrop rows, full width with some padding and flex with space between to spread the columns evenly across. The second row gets align items flex end so the text anchors to the bottom. The logo inside the backdrop gets a small fixed size with some padding and a dashed border to match the terminal aesthetic. Next, the preloader itself. This one is also position fixed, full viewport but with a black background and white text. Same flex column layout with space between. The key thing here is the clip path. I am setting it to a full polygon covering the entire element. This doesn't do anything visually right now, but it gives us a starting point that we can animate later. When we want the preloader to exit, we'll tween this clip path to collapse to one side, creating that wipe reveal effect. I've also added will change for both transform and clip path since we'll be animating both of those, and a higher z-index so it sits on top of everything. For the preloader rows, same deal as the backdrop, full width, padded, flexed with space between. And for the columns inside the second row, I am adding a generous cap and aligning items to flex end. Now for the preloader button container, this is positioned absolute, centered in the middle of the screen using translate trick, given a square shape that's big enough to house the SVG ring comfortably. For everything inside the button container, the SVG strokes, the logo, and both labels, they all share the same centering. So I've grouped them into one selector and applied the same absolute centered positioning. The logo gets a fixed size, both labels get bumped up slightly in font size, and the SVG strokes container along with the SVG itself are set to fill the full width and height of the button container with wheel change transform since we'll be rotating the SVG during the animation. Now the hero section. This is positioned relative, full viewport with a black background and white text, flexed to center its content both vertically and horizontally. The important part here is the transform scale. The hero starts scale down, so when the preloader exits, we can animate it back up to full size for that satisfying zoom in effect. We'll change transform here since we'll be tweening that value, and a z-index that places it between the backdrop and the preloader. The preloader revealer inside the hero is an absolute overlay covering the full area with a white background. It has a full clip path just like the preloader, which will animate to wipe away and reveal the hero content underneath. And the H1 gets a width constraint to keep the text from stretching too far to the edges. Finally, a quick media query for smaller screens. Below a certain breakpoint, I am hiding a few of the columns in the backdrop rows. These are the denser text blocks that would get too crowded on smaller devices, so we just remove them to keep things clean. That covers the styling. Let's move on to the JavaScript. First things first, let's pull in our dependencies. We need GSAP for all the animations and transitions, split text from GSAP's plugin library, which lets us break text elements into individual lines or words so we can animate them separately, and custom ease, which lets us define our own custom easing curves instead of being limited to the built-in ones. Next, we register the plugins with GSAP so they are available to use, and then I'll create two custom eases. The first one I'm calling Hop, the second one is Glide. These are really aggressive curves that stay flat for most of the duration and then snap into place right at the end. Now everything we write from here on out goes inside a DOM content loaded listener just to make sure the page is fully loaded before we start building anything. The first thing I'll do inside is set up a flag called preloader complete and set it to false. This is what we'll use to prevent the user from clicking the enter button before the loading animation is finished. We'll flip it to true once the intro sequence is done. Next, let's grab our DOM references. I'll query all the paragraph elements inside the preloader, then the preloader button container, and the two SVG circle elements. Finally, I'll use get total length on the track circle to get the actual computed length of that SVG path. This gives us the actual exact number we need for the stroke dash animation instead of hard coding it. Now that we have the path length, I'll use GSAP's set method to apply the stroke dash array and stroke dash offset values to both circles. Setting both to the full path length means the strokes are completely hidden at the start. This is the initial state that will animate from. Next, the text splitting. I'll loop through all the preloader paragraphs and run split text on each one, splitting them into lines with the mask. The mask option creates a wrapper around each line with overflow hidden, so when the line is translated down, it's completely clipped out of view. Then we animate it back up and it reveals smoothly from behind the mask. For the hero H1, I'll do the same thing but split it into words instead of lines, same mask setup, so each word is hidden and ready to be revealed individually. Now let's build the intro timeline. I'll create a new GSAP timeline called intro timeline with a 1-second delay at the start. The first thing in the sequence is the text reveal. I am targeting all the line elements inside the preloader rows and animating their Y position back to 0 with a stagger. So each line slides up into view one after another with a slight delay between them. At the same time, I'll start drawing in the track circle. I am animating its stroke dash offset down to 0, which progressively reveals the stroke around the circular path. The position parameter is set to start at the same time as the text reveal, so both animations play together. Also at the same time, I'll rotate the entire SVG element. This means while the stroke is drawing in, the whole path is also spinning. The combination of the stroke revealing and the rotation happening simultaneously makes the draw point travel around the circle rather than just appearing from a fixed starting position. It adds a lot of dynamism to what would otherwise be a simple stroke animation. Next, the fake loading progress. I'll define an array of 4 stops representing the percentage milestones the progress stroke should hit. The values have a bit of randomness added, so each page load feels slightly different. The last stop is always locked to 1, so the progress always finishes completely. Then I loop through those stops and add a tween to the timeline for each one. Each tween animates the progress strokes dash offset to match that stop's percentage of the total path length. The delay between each jump is also slightly randomized, so what you end up with is the white progress ring filling in these smooth but uneven chunks, almost like a real loading bar that speeds up and slows down unpredictably. Once the progress stroke is fully revealed, the next thing is to fade out the logo. I am overlapping this slightly with the end of the last progress jump, so there is no dead gap between the two. Then right after that, I'll scale the button container down slightly. This gives it that subtle pull-in effect like the button is tightening up. And then the engage label slides into view. The line element inside the label animates from its hidden position back up to 0. And in the onComplete callback, I'll flip that preloader complete flag to true. So from this point on, the button is clickable. Now let's set up the click handler. I'll add a click event listener on the preloader button container. The first thing inside is a guard check. If preloader complete is false, we just return early and nothing happens. This prevents any clicks from firing during the intro sequence. And right after the check, I set the flag back to false, so the user can't double click and trigger the exit animation twice. Then I'll create a new timeline for the exit sequence called exit timeline. The first tween scales the entire preloader down. This gives it that shrinking away effect like the whole interface is pulling back. At the same time, I'll animate both SVG circles back out by setting that stroke dash offset to the negative path length. This draws the stroke out in the opposite direction from how they came in, so it feels like a proper reversal rather than just rewinding. Also at the same time, the engage label slides up and out of view, and the outro label, access granted, slides into its place from below. There is a slight overlap between the two, so you get that smooth swap where one exits as the other enters. Next comes the big reveal. I'm animating the preloader's clip path from its fully coverage down to a collapsed polygon on the left side. This creates that horizontal wipe effect where the dark preloader slides away to the left, and almost simultaneously, the preloader revealer inside the hero section does the same thing. Its white overlay wipes away in the same direction but with a slight delay, revealing the dark hero content underneath with a digital scan effect. The slight offset between the two wipes creates this layered pale effect where you see a flash of white before the actual content appears. And once the revealer finishes, I set the preloader to display none in the onComplete callback so it's fully removed from the page. Finally, the hero scales back up to its full size and the H1 words animate into view with a stagger. Each word slides up from behind its mask, one after another. I'm overlapping this with the scale animation so the text starts appearing while the hero is still zooming in. It makes the whole landing feel like one continuous motion rather than a sequence of separate steps. And that wraps up the full build, a layered preloader with SVG stroke animations, masked text reveals, clip path wipes, and a scaled hero entrance. All done with GSAP, split text, and a couple of custom uses. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one.